Hey guys, Jim here with Tribe Talk. We're on our final release of Infil 2.1 session. And today, Mike is going to do a deep dive into preparing the kingdom for the king as he describes his message, stepping into the apostolic mandate. So stay tuned. Enjoy.
We are shipwrecked. We're sitting in the ocean, we're in the middle of the ocean, and we're all alone. Nobody's with us. All I have is my raft. I don't have food. You don't have food. You don't have water. You don't have anything that's going to be with you to help you survive. And you know, even though you don't want to believe it, you know that if someone doesn't come along soon, if something doesn't happen, you're going to die out there. So all these things start going through your mind. You start thinking, well, how's it going to happen? All the doubts, all the fears, all the things just start hitting you, and you're struggling deeply. You break down and crying by yourself, and you scream out to whoever it is, God, help me. People, someone come and find me. Help me survive. Let me see my kids and my wife just one more day. Help me make it. And it doesn't look good. You're just floating out there, and you're floating out there, and you're by yourself. You're getting weaker and weaker. Things are going really, really bad. And then one day you wake up, and you look out clear out there on the horizon, and you see 3 ships. 3 ships are coming your way. They are out looking for people that are lost. And they're coming your way, and all of a sudden you think, oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. I have help coming. I am going to be okay. As these ships start coming nearer to you, you start realizing, man, there's something different about each of these ships. They have people on them. There's food. There's shelter. There's a warm bed. There's a place for you to go where you can actually get help. But something just doesn't seem right. They're not all the same. They are, but they're not. As you stare at these ships, they're coming closer to you, and you realize they have captains on the ship, obviously. They have people, like I said. There's food there, everything. As they're coming close, you start realizing they're getting closer and closer, and you're like, man, there's something different. And then you look over to the ship on the far left. As you look at that ship on the far left, you realize, man, they've got everything I need, but apparently there's rules on that ship. Rules. There's rules on the ship, and if I get on that ship, what's going to end up happening is the captain's a little bit, he's kind of scary, sort of, but man, this guy's giving me life. He's giving me a second chance. I might actually get to go see my wife and kids. I might be able to do things better in the future. So you know what? That ship's, it's better than staying on this raft. So I look up at the ship, and I start realizing that, okay, this is a good place to go. The captain says, all right, here's the deal. You can come on my ship. I'm going to give you everything you need. But look, here's the deal. You have rules to follow. See, we're out here, and we're trying to find more people on this ocean, and you have rules to follow. And let me tell you something. If you break my rule, you're gonna get hurt by it. In other words, if you do good, I'll continue to give you all the things that are on this ship. If you do bad, I might take a bed from you. I might maybe take some of these people that are trying to help you. I might take some of that food away from you. But don't worry, as long as you're doing the right thing, you'll be okay. Okay, well doesn't sound great, but that's a heck of a lot better than staying on this freaking boat, on this freaking raft. Then I I start looking at the middle one. I'm looking at that boat, and I'm like, gosh, that actually kind of looks inviting, but that actually looks even worse than that one. Apparently, if I go on that ship, this captain has a long list of rules. And he's not very kind. He wants to be kind, but he realizes I'm a broken human being. I'm not a good dude, and I make a lot of mistakes, and so he's like, look, you are this way. I don't know if you're going to do the right thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a long list of rules, and I'm going to treat you a little bit more like a slave. You're going to work hard. You're going to do the right thing. You're going to follow these rules. You're going to do all this stuff, and if you do it wrong, you can say goodbye to your bed. Those people, they're not here. You're going to get thrown in solitary confinement. You're not going to get any food. We're not going to give you water. But don't worry. As long as you keep working hard and do the right thing, I'll give it to you. Then, clear on the right. There's something about that ship. That captain has a heart that's just different. He wants everything for me to be okay. He knows that I'm not a perfect human being. He knows that I'm going to make mistakes. And he says, it's okay. We've got food. We've got companionship. We've got water. We've had a really nice shower. There's going to be a place for you to sleep. Everything's going to be okay. You can come on my ship, but here's the deal. I have 2 rules. That's it. 2. And these rules are, I want you to love me and respect me. And I want you to love the other people on this ship. That's all I care. That's all I want. And look, I know you're going to make mistakes. You're a human being. That's okay. Don't worry about it. What I just want you to do is love me and love the people on the ship. And here's another thing. There's more people out there, and I need you. I just gave you the whole story of the Bible, and it's over. Yesterday, we were talking, and if I get my first slide here, we talked about the big 5. Where did I come from? Who am I? What's the meaning of all of it? How should I live, and where am I going? These are, as we said, clear back on Friday. It seems like 4 years ago already. Clear back on Friday, we were having this conversation, and we said, if you remember, that all human beings are asking these 5 questions of themselves. And if you read through the Bible, there's story after story after story after story of people asking those big 5. It's all over the place. Now, what I want you to understand, I brought this up on Friday, I think it was Friday night as well. History has been somewhere, history is here, and history is going somewhere. Did you know that if we take that word and break it down, it's his story? It's not yours. It's not yours. It's his story. And what is amazing is he has put you here to be part of his story. We also talked sometime over the weekend, I think my next slide, we talked about this idea in Genesis 1:28 where it says that it's the cultural mandate. In Genesis 1:28, 28 verses in the Bible, we find out that God sent his people. He created Adam and Eve, and he said, I want you to leave here, leave the garden, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and have dominion. Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, have dominion. What he was saying is, the world needs you. And I'm sending you out of here to go out there, and I want you to change the culture. I want you to change it to make it look more like It doesn't here. This was the original plan God had for us when we stepped out of the garden onto the ocean. When I stepped out of the garden and when we step into the ocean, we realize that it's stormy out there. There's nothing out there. It's scary. It can be all these different things, but yet Jesus said to his people, I want you to leave here. I want you to step out on the ocean. Because our captain had a plan. And then what happened was the people stepped out. They went out into the ocean. And what ended up happening was they got shipwrecked in Genesis 3. They sinned. They stepped away from their cultural mandate, from the commissioning that they were given. They stepped away and they went out. And while they were actually supposed to be doing the work, something happened. What happened? Satan saw something. He said, those people are dangerous and I got to do something. Was the Garden of Eden a safe place? If it was, then I must be reading the Bible wrong. See, the Satan, our enemy, saw that there's something about these people. He can't go up, knock on the front door of God's house and say, hey, buddy, let's go out and get in a fist fight out in the lawn here. He's not going to win that fight. But what he can do is he can knock on your door, have you come out, he can win that fight. So what ended up happening here is we see that when Adam and Eve got shipwrecked, they sinned, and life at sea got really tough. It got really hard for Adam and Eve, and they stepped away from God. They began to feel separated from him, and they even hid from him in shame. God does not believe in shame. See, God had a plan for his people, and he still has one today. He still has a plan for his people, and he still has a plan for this universe. Next slide, please. What we see in the Bible throughout the whole thing, and it causes a lot of confusion, and we're going to go after that confusion here this morning. What we see is something called a berit. It's a covenant. And what we know is that covenants were they were the way that early humans actually operated. If I have a covenant with someone, it was a big deal. If I have a covenant with Garrison over here, the reason why I'm having a covenant with Garrison is because I want to have a father-son bond with him. But sometimes those covenants went south, and they went from being a familial relationship to one of legalism. Remember that. They go from a father-son bond to sometimes one of legalism. Now, there's 3 types of covenants that we actually see in the Bible. Those 3 covenants, if I can go next slide, please. Those 3 covenants are called a grant covenant, a kinship covenant, and a vassal covenant. God uses these things here to come down into your world. And what he's doing is, he is, as my good friend Jim Marion says, he's chasing me. And he won't let me go. I'm in the ocean. And I need something. I need help. I need something. And I don't even know what I need. So what he does in the Bible all the time is he uses these things in order to get closer to us. He's chasing us. He wants to bring the ships forward. He wants us to see the ships, and he wants us to get on the right one. even if we decide I'm not going to choose the right one. The three ships in our illustration are the three covenants: grant, kinship, and vassal. The life raft represents being lost and separated from God. Anybody in the last 10 minutes feel like they've been separated from God? I do it all the time. I feel separated. Where are you? Many times I'm on my own life raft and I'm praying. I'm like, God, where are you? I need you right now. But God uses the covenants all the time throughout the Bible to help to chase us down. Now, what we see in Genesis 15, 17, and 22, we see something happening. Okay, let's go backwards. You got Adam and Eve, you got Noah, and then you have Abraham. Abraham, and God's been trying to get a hold of these lost people out in the middle of the ocean, and what he's doing is he's bringing the ship forward. All these ships forward, and he's hoping that we will take the right ship, which is, by the way, the one clear on the right. See, what we see in Genesis 15, we see something very, very interesting. We have Abraham out in the wilderness. God says, hey, and by the way, it's a building up process. So you see it in 15, 17, and 22. So if you want to do your own research, 15, 17, 22, it's a building up process. What we see is God says, hey, Adam, son, I want to meet you out in the woods tonight. And what I want to do is I want to have a covenant ceremony with you. All you got to do is show up. All you have to do is show up. And what we see in Genesis 15 is this. When the sun had set and darkness had fallen, a smoking fire pot with a blazing torch appeared and passed between the pieces. Pieces, what is that? So let's say I come over here with these two guys right here. Hi, guys. Good. And I come over to them and I say, hey, fellas, I want to have a covenant ceremony with you. And what we're going to do is we're going to sacrifice animals. We're going to make a big deal of this. It's going to be a party. Everybody's going to hang out. It's going to be awesome. And what we do is I'm going to have this covenant ceremony with these guys, and I'm going to hack up animals, and I'm going to spread them out on the ground, all the entrails and all the pieces. I'm going to put them out here on the ground. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through it, and I'm going to say, I promise that I am going to be your father. I'm going to do everything I told you I was going to do, and I promise you, and if I don't, I want you to turn me in to these animals. And oh, by the way, you got to do the same thing. It's a promise. It's a covenant. What I'm doing is I'm trying to give them something, and I'm trying to have this promise, this covenant that is always there. Now, what's interesting is I'm getting lost. Okay, now what ends up happening is we see a very interesting thing happen. When this is getting ready, God is having this covenant ceremony with Abraham, and he says to Abraham, I'm going to give you so many kids you don't know what you're going to do with them. You are going to be the father of nations, Abraham. You are going to be the father of nations. And what ends up happening is, Abraham, okay, that sounds pretty cool. I'm in, whatever that looks like. And something really crazy happens. He falls asleep. Falls asleep? He falls asleep. And that night while he's sleeping, we talk about spiritual gifts. He has this amazing dream, and it's not good. Abraham's sleeping, and what ends up happening has this dream when he realizes something good is happening. God is going to make something amazing happen, and I'm going to have all these kids, the unfortunate thing, they're going to be in slavery for a really long time. And what ended up happening is Abraham slept through the whole thing. But something else happened. A fire pot went right through the middle middle of all of it while he was sleeping. Some people say, some theologians say, that could have been representative of Jesus. God was saying, I got this. You're going to fall asleep and you're not walking through. But I am. I'm going to do it. So now, is it possible that he was saying, I'll take the blessing and I'll take the curse for you? This is the story that we see. This is what happens in the Bible. What we're seeing is that God knows that we are broken human beings. We're probably going to screw things up. Even if he blesses me with everything that he could possibly give to me, I'm probably going to screw this up. But here's the thing. He's saying, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to step in as you, and I'm going to take on everything so that you will be okay. That sounds like somebody I know of. I'm trying to think. Oh, that's that Jesus guy. That's right. Now what we see, what ends up happening is the story continues on. Abraham goes through, he does his things, everything like that. He passes away. He goes on with his ancestors. Later on, what we see is, in fact, what God was telling Abraham in his dream is coming true. His people are put in slavery. This is the Israelites being put in slavery. We know the story pretty well. Moses comes along, as the new guy comes along. He is being tasked with the same thing that you are, which is the cultural mandate. Yes, I said that. And he is coming out, and he is getting ready to lead God's people to the promised land. What's the promised land? So he comes along, and he gets there, and he's going up on this mountain, which is really, really symbolic and great. We won't go into that now. He's going up on this mountain, and he's meeting God. Moses is having conversation with God. What that looked like, I have no idea. And he comes back down, he says, hey guys, guess what? I have good news. God tells me that he wants to have a covenant relationship with you. This is that part in the Bible where he says, do you guys want to be a kingdom of priests? Yes, that sounds amazing. I'll be a kingdom of priests. That sounds good. I'm in. Okay, cool. So here's what I want you guys to do. What I want you to do is go back, shower, stay away from everything. I want you to be cleaned up. I want you to look good. And we'll see you down here at the base of the mountain tomorrow morning. And when we get here, God's going to show up, and he's going to make you a kingdom of priests. Whew, cool. I'm in. What's interesting is, when the people showed up, something really, really frightening happened to them. They saw thunder and lightning and heard the trumpet and saw the mountain of smoke. They trembled with fear, and they said, whoa, hold on. That dude, that God guy, scares me. Moses, where you at? Moses, come here. Hey, that guy scares me. He's loud. He's got trumpets playing. There's shaking out here. That dude's powerful. Tell you what, Moses, here's what we're going to do. We'll be a kingdom of priests, but here's the thing. Instead of us talking to him and being directly around him in his orbit, we want you to speak to him, please. And then can you please speak to us? And we'll listen to you. But that dude, he's scary. See, what's interesting is, because of their fearful slave mindset, they sacrificed relationship and asked for rules. Instead, they jumped on the ship on the left. They asked for it. Why did they jump on the ship on the left? It was a kinship covenant. A kinship covenant, which means you don't mess with me, I don't mess with you, and if you do, you're going to turn into these animals. They were choosing this. They asked for it. God, being respectful of human beings, did I say that out loud? Yes, I did. He loves you. My kids screw up all the time. I still love them. And I respect them. I am so tired of hearing that God looks at us as dirty, awful, terrible creatures. It's not the way. That's not what he's doing. If he did believe that, then why did he put the history of the universe in your hands? With his help. He wants us to step out and do something. Not sit there and go, that guy scares me. I'm going to go back here and, hey, pastor, can you be the one that talks to him and then you talk to me? The reason why is interesting because they had a fearful slave mindset. Why? Because it came from slavery. They sacrificed relationship and they asked for rules instead. They said, this sucks on this boat. That one's pretty cool, but let's go over here. I'll go ahead and take that one instead for now. Because that one, there's responsibility over here. They jumped on the ship on the left. They chose rules over relationship. See, Jesus is a relational God. But what we did is we asked for the rules instead of the relationship. Then what ends up happening is the Israelites go on, they do their thing. They're the ones that chose that kinship covenant. And then what ends up happening is they end up in the wilderness for 40 years. And they screw it up about as bad as I have in my own life. They just kept going back. I know I'm supposed to be free, but I don't want to be free. I gotta have rules. Somebody's got to teach me and make sure that I'm staying, doing the right thing. Then what we see later on, we go through the 40 years in the wilderness. We see something else happen. Moses then passes away. He passes away. He goes to his ancestors. And what ends up happening is he hands over all of that stuff, everything, the people and everything. He says, Joshua. Joshua was a bad dude, by the way. Flat out warrior. There's a reason why. And that's for a whole other story some other time. Joshua then comes on board, and what we actually see a moment where Moses passes away and there's a new covenant ceremony going on. This one is actually brought on by God. And the reason why is because he has had it with these people. They have broken this covenant over and over and over again, and they're not listening to me. But I had a promise with this guy Moses, who's the one that is in charge of all this. He's the one that I set the deal with, and I'm going to stick to this thing no matter what, because I am a good God. I am not going to step away from the promises that I made. So he sticks with them, and then finally he passes away, and then God renegotiates the covenant to a vassal covenant when Moses dies, to punish them for their sinful ways in the 40 years in the wilderness. He had something else he wanted to do, and what he wanted to do and get to was what you have today. We're going to get to that here in a minute. You see, he wanted to make sure that someday the future, the eternity, would be the way he wanted it to be. So he felt as if I have to punish these people right now in order for us to get to where we want to go. You see, if the law imparted life, then this is what he did. He gave these laws. What he said was, you know what? Ship number one, the one over here with the rules, do you think that's bad? Hold on, we're putting you on this one here. It's the one in the middle. It was a vassal covenant. That commander, that captain of that ship said, oh boy, we've got to do something to get control over what's going on. And what we're going to do is we're going to do this, and this. We're going to treat him this way because he's got something else in mind, and that's you. You see, there was all these laws, and it just didn't seem to be working because, and we see a lot in the New Testament, it says, if the law imparted life, it would have made them righteous. If the law imparted life. If all my rules on this ship imparted life, then you'll be righteous. But it didn't work out. But it wasn't brought about to make anyone righteous. It just didn't work. The law, and God knew that, by the way, just want to point that out. It was brought about as a result of sin. Sometimes, I know me growing up, and probably now with my wife, maybe my kids, sometimes I screw up and I got to get called on the carpet for it. This time they didn't have a choice. They were given the middle ship because of their sin. Now, what's really mind-blowing is later on, now, okay, let's go through it again. We got Adam and Eve, we got Noah. Noah actually had a covenant as well. Then we go to Abraham, and then we go further into the next piece. And all of these are actually going on right now. So you got the Noah, I always have a hard time saying that. The Noahic covenant, the Abraham covenant, which is a grant covenant, the Mosaic covenant, which is the kinship and a vassal. We talked about the two. You with me? And then we go on the Davidic covenant. Something's changing. This is why when you read Psalms, suddenly the verbiage changes. See, here's the thing. We talked about spiritual gifts. God was speaking to David for you. He was speaking to David for you. What he was trying to do, what he was actually doing was like, hey, David, does this seem right to you? Do you feel free? Or do you feel like a slave? David begins to prophetically speak in Psalms, in is it First Kings, all those different places. Sorry, where's my uncle at? Uncle? Prophetically speak about a new covenant that is coming in the future. He's speaking to David. He's like, hey guys, listen to me. I want you to understand there's a new covenant. There's a new ship out there. And you need to understand that sooner or later, your house, David, and your kingdom will endure forever before me. Your throne will be established forever. Thus, this is one of the reasons why you are never, tell me where I'm wrong, in the New Testament ever called a son of Moses. You're called a son of Abraham. Jesus came as a son of David. Why? Could it have something to do with the covenant that you're living in? It says in Matthew 1:17, these are the kind of passages we all blow over because they're really boring. But there is a deep message in this right here. Thus there were 14 generations from Abraham to David, 14 from David to exile to Babylon, and 14 from the exile to the Messiah. Hold on. Did I read that right? Where's Moses? Oh, he's not up there? It's not that Moses was a bad man. He was an amazing man. And we owe him so much. The reason why you don't see that is because Moses, we are living in a different generation of a different covenant. In Galatians 3:10 through 11, now, when you read Galatians, Paul's trying to teach you this. So when you read Galatians, go back through Galatians and start reading it and start thinking about the things we're talking about today. For all who it says this in Galatians 3:10 through 11. For all who rely on works of the law are under a curse. As it is written, cursed is everyone who does not continue to do everything written in the book of law. Clearly, no one who relies on the law is justified before God, because the righteous will live by faith. Law, faith. What is, Paul, please, what are you talking about? You see, what's happening is God is telling David that middle ship is about to get sunk. The way things are ran on that ship are about to become old. Or, as Hebrews 8:6 says, the old covenant is going to be replaced by a new covenant. Hebrews 8:6 says this, but in fact, the ministry that Jesus has received is superior to theirs, as the covenant of which he is mediator is superior to the old, since the new covenant is established on better promises. I asked you guys to think about on Friday night, what's the difference between grant, or what the words grant and grace mean to you? It means that you have been granted something that is absolutely amazing, that our churches have done a very bad job, in my opinion, sorry, I'm saying it, of teaching us, and that you have been given grace. You are currently in something called new, that's new, and it's called a grant covenant. Hebrews 8:13 says, by calling this covenant new, listen to this. Hebrews 8:13, I'm not the one that wrote this. Hebrews 8:13 says, by calling this covenant new, he has made the first one obsolete. And what is obsolete and outdated will soon disappear. What? This old and new stuff, what is this? Something is going on. What is happening is Jesus then is coming down, and when he was in the woods with Abraham, he said, I swear by myself. He didn't say, I swear by Byron. He said, I swear by myself. By myself? Oh, wait a minute, hold on. God's saying this, that's the mind of Christ, that's the divine mind. How does that work? Oh, okay, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. God, Father, divine. Jesus, representing the body. He has the Holy Spirit. He is the Father. The Father is in him. Oh, now, okay. All right, I think I got it now. I think what happened here was that Jesus was actually telling Abraham that this is going to be a divine covenant, and it has divine principles, and it also has physical. What does that mean? That means that the promise was made by a divine entity who also had a physical nature in the future, and he was going to set things right. This morning, Uncle Keith is going to be taking us through the Lord's Prayer, the Lord's Supper. And I want you guys to hear something. In Mark 14:22-24, it says, while they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, take, eat. This is my body. Then he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank from it. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many. What is that? He's having a covenant ceremony with his people. He didn't say, take, eat, this is your body. And if you screw up, you're done. He didn't say, this is your blood. You're promising me that you're going to get this right, because you're going to screw it up. So guess what? You're in trouble. He didn't say that. What he was saying is, hey, I got the ship out here. You're lost at sea. Those other two ships, they don't exist. Get rid of them. They're done. What I want you to understand is there's a new ship, and here it is. And I want you to come on board, because if you want to know the way, the truth, and you want to know what life is, then come on my ship. I want you to come on the ship, and I've got two rules for you. I want you to accept who you are. I want you to accept who you are. So that means that I want you to understand who you are, and you are not you without me. I am your father. Wait a minute, that was Darth Vader. No, that was Luke Skywalker. I don't know, anyway. There's some theology in Star Wars as well. So this idea then is that what's happening is Jesus is having a covenant ceremony for his people, and what he's probably thinking about is Abraham. Because he promised Abraham something many, many, many years ago. And what he said was, you're not going to walk through these broken pieces because you're going to fall asleep and miss the whole thing. And I'm going to come in as a divine entity and as you, and I'm going to take it all for you. Jesus removed the curse hanging over us today to obey, and he opened the door to blessing through faith. That's what Paul is trying to get at. All you have to do is believe. Jesus was born under the law. This is so good. Jesus was born under the law. He lived under the law, and he ministered under the law. Then he gave his life, freeing all people from under the old covenant. We were made righteous by simply believing in him. Does anybody feel righteous? I don't. Doesn't matter. This is why we know that our God covers everything. He came down as a divine entity and as you, and he said, I'm taking care of all of this. This is the classic belief of the early church. Read it. Look it up. Is it possible that we could be screwing up Christianity as we go? This is the classic belief of the early church. It shows uninterrupted presence and action of divine operation and a break of the order of merit and justice. It's a break of the order of merit and justice. My question for you is, why are you trying to still work your way to heaven? This promise was set all the way back with Abraham when Jesus said, I swear by myself, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. It is finished. He was declaring that his mission of salvation was complete and the debt of sin was paid in full. Not by you, by him. Later on, what we see, Jesus goes to the cross, and he does exactly what he promised. He says, I'm going to go to the cross, I'm going to hang up here, and I'm going to stand by my promise. I am going all the way back to the days of Adam and Eve. I'm thinking of Noah and all his people. I'm thinking about everything that I've done with him. I'm thinking about Abraham. I made a promise to Abraham. And I'm thinking about Moses. Moses did everything he could. But you guys just kept asking for slavery. It's okay, I got this, I got this, I got this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang up on this tree and I'm going to prove to you that I'm the animal. I'm the one that's going to stand up on this cross, and I'm going to take it for you because I love you more than you'll ever understand. Jesus came to them and he said later on, after he was crucified, some time goes by, and then all of a sudden something happens. And this is the verse that we chose for this weekend. Listen carefully. Then Jesus comes back. He comes back and he meets his disciples. He says, guys, come here. Let's go. I got something to tell you. And he says, fellas, I got something to tell you. It's really, really cool. All authority in heaven and on earth, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. What he's doing is, he's like, guys, listen, come here. All this stuff has been going on for centuries, and all this stuff, and the story that I wrote, the story that I want for you, is actually coming to fruition right now. That cultural mandate thing, remember? My first people that I sent out from here, And I gave them this command. I want you to go out and I want you to change the culture. And then you guys kind of did some things, messed it up. It's okay. It happens. Now what I'm telling you is when Adam and Eve gave the keys to Satan, he gave away the keys, or we gave away the keys to the bad guy. And Jesus is saying, and I just took them back. I am a God of my word. And I don't care how long it takes back. I will chase you. I will chase you forever. And I will figure out a way for you to help, or for you to find something called life. Obeying his ways and his truths bring us life. We have been called then onto that first ship, and we've been asked to be part of the crew. And now, if I don't eat, and I don't sleep, and I don't get the food I need, the things I need, it's okay. Because there's other people out there in that water, and we got to find them. Can I get the next slide, please? So, what I want you guys to know is there's something really interesting. Now, we just talked about the Great Commission. That is, all authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. I'm taking the keys back and I'm giving them to you. Then what we see, something really interesting happens. You go through the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then we go into Acts. Something shifts. What the heck is shifting? What's shifting is we see a calling where now Peter seems to not being referenced as a disciple anymore. Wait, what? He's not being referenced as a disciple anymore. He's calling himself an apostle. Everybody's calling him apostle. Have you ever called Paul? Oh, that's a disciple Paul. No, you call him the Apostle Paul. Why? The reason why is apostle actually comes from a Greek word, which is apostolos. Probably butchering that. That's okay. Apostolos. Apostolos was actually a term that was stolen by these individuals. Why? We don't know for sure. Well, we do. But they took that term, and actually it was taken from the Greek and Roman armies. Let's say that Commander Nielsen over here goes in and he takes control of an area. He's a Roman general. He never made general, so yeah. So he's a Roman general. He's stepping into that world. And what he's doing is he's doing battle. He's getting control of the area. And then once he gets control of the area, that means that there's some skirmishes breaking out, there's some things happening, but he's in control. He's got this. And what he does is he says, okay, well, I don't think he had a phone back then. He calls in and he says, hey, guys, it's time. Let's send in the team who has an apostolic mission. What? Yeah. So they bring all the artists. They bring all the people that create and do things and work. And they start changing the area to make it look more like Rome. They bring in the culture makers to make the area look more like Rome. Why? Why would they do that? Because they want to make sure that when the king shows up, he feels like he's at home. I am not saying that everybody in this room is an apostle. I'm not. What I am saying is you do have an apostolic calling. See, this is a calling. This is your purpose. From day one, tell me I'm wrong, to bring heaven to earth. God is calling you the same way he called Adam and Eve back in the garden. Jesus is calling you just like he did in the Great Commission. You are a son of the living God, and you have been given the calling to bring heaven to earth. Why? Because he gave you the keys. This is why in Junto we say that your faith is not just for you. It's for the world. 1 Corinthians tells us that we have been given gifts, which we've talked about. We have been given gifts, if you can get that up there on the slide. The spiritual gifts. 1 Corinthians tells us that we have been given gifts for the betterment of others. We talked about it last night. Wisdom, knowledge, faith, gifts of healing, miraculous powers, prophecy, distinguishing spirits, speaking in tongues, interpretation of tongues. I didn't write that. It's in your Bible. You live in a different covenant right now, and you've been given these things to actually go into your area of operations and help people understand, to make it look more like the kingdom of heaven, so that when he comes and knocks on the door, whenever that is, he will feel at home. Is it up to us? Might be. He is waiting for us to actually say, we're actually ready for you, sir. Are you ready? So my question for you is, have you thought about these things? Have you thought about your area of operations? The kingdom of heaven is here, but it's not complete. We have a part in helping heaven's government to be manifested fully. What are you doing to prepare? Are you getting up early in the morning when everybody else is sleeping? Maybe you're not a morning person. Are you staying up late at night and saying, instead I'm going to stare at my phone and see what Miley Cyrus is doing today? She actually probably could use Jesus. Instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw that thing away because it's a distraction. Jim talked about it. It's a distraction. It's part of the way that the enemy just likes to use a little bit of twisting, a little bit of this and a little bit of that to keep you from actually stepping into the calling of your life. What are you doing to prepare? This is the reason I said yesterday, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not. I promise you I'm not. This is the reason why I wake up so early in the morning. I'm a morning person, sort of. As I get older, it's changing. I'm a morning person, so what I do is I get up in the morning right away and I give the first part of my day to my Savior. And I pray, and I ask him for help. Some days I'm praying for people in this room. I know that God's laying you on my heart, so I just wait and I listen for him. I pretend like he's sitting next to me, and I sit there and I pray, and I pray and I pray. Some days I'm doing great. Some days I'm bawling my eyes out. It's not easy. Then what I do is I get done with that, and then I have a reading problem. I'm getting help for it. And I sit down and I try to pray, and I read. What is it? What's something new that I can learn? So that if something comes up in my life and I need to know how to handle it, am I ready? Instead of picking up my phone, half asleep with my coffee cup in my hand, I'm taking my books and I'm doing those things, and I'm taking notes and I'm writing things down. And I want to share it with the world, because part of my spiritual gift is being a teacher, being a coach. It's who I am. So a teacher and a coach is really curious. I just want to understand how things work. It's not really for me, although I am really curious about it. I want to show you what it's about. That's why I do those things. And then what I do is I got to feed my machine. I strength train. I run. I do all these different things. I am at 25 years of doing this, so we're all at different levels. But I do all of those things, and the reason why is because I have to be prepared. I don't know what the world's going to throw at me today. What are my kids going to need? Am I going to have the answers? What's going to happen when I walk in, I open up my email because I fight terrorism one email at a time. And I open up my email, and I see on the email that something's happening at the United States Special Operations Command. And it's bad. And I got to figure out, because I've got all these people around me that are asking for my leadership, and I have to figure out what it is, what are the problems, I have to go after it. What would God say about this? What would he say? So I have to go into that, and I have to be prepared. I don't know what the world's what's going to hit me. And then later, if I have time, and I try to do it every day, I do my work, I come home, I take my kids to practice, I do the things I'm supposed to do, I'm taking care of my family, and I try to keep the same level of intensity that I had when I was trying to save the world one email at a time. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to live out my purpose, because I am a son of the living God. So what's your plan? Do you have one? And if you don't, that's okay. But you should. You need to start thinking about it. How are you preparing? Now the next question is, how are you going to execute? Some guys keep coming up to me and they're saying, yeah, maybe I'll travel overseas and, be a missionary. And that's fine. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think America needs it more than they do. Just my thoughts. America needs it more than they do. We need people that are going out and doing work. And you can do it while you're at work. You can do it while you're at work. That's why you have that, because you have been given a mission. Where did you get the mission? And there's some individuals in the room that need to understand this. What is your plan for rest and recovery? Remember what I talked about yesterday. We talked about this idea, this concept of supercompensation. When I train athletes, what I'm doing is I'm working them hard, and I'm just absolutely doing everything I can. And then all of a sudden what happens is the science goes away, and now I'm looking at art, and what ends up happening is I start recognizing that my athletes are no longer getting better, they're doing this. And so you know what I do? Push them a little harder. Push them a little bit harder. I want to see this happen just a little bit, and I got to pay attention, because I got to make sure I'm not screwing this up and going too far and pushing them over a cliff and call that overtraining. And what I try to do is I watch for it, and then all of a sudden I do something really, really interesting. I give them rest. I let them start recovering so that they can actually have the things that they need later on, because it's not about the training. It's not about the training. I love the training part. It's not about the training. It's about the game. It's about the game. I want to give them every tool that they need so they can step into their area of operations and win championships. That is what Jesus Christ wants to do for you. So, what we call that is a downloading. And what we see is when I give them a downloading, they take off. Usain Bolt, fastest man in the world. It used to be. I don't know if he is anymore. He's getting old, like me. Did you ever notice, or ever ask yourself the question, why is it that Usain Bolt always seems to be setting the world record on the biggest stages? How does he do that? Why is he not setting a world record a week before? Why is he not setting a world record in, what do you call it? Trials. Why is he not setting the records there? The reason why he's not setting the records there is because it's done intentional. You see, the thing is everybody on his staff, to include Usain Bolt, knows that he cannot run that fast, except for about 1 or 2 weeks out of 4 years. That's right. He can only run that fast. And so why do we see Usain Bolt setting world records on the biggest stage? Because it's intentional. Now, that's an athlete. Things are a little bit different for us, which I had to learn with these guys. But the reality is that that's what we're talking about. So you don't actually get stronger when you're praying, when you're involving and trying to learn. The process itself is actually kind of hard. When I go and I squat, I told you guys the other day when I'm teaching an athlete that they have to come down on a squat and this is how they come back up, I explain to them that it's not about the squat. I'm trying to teach your body how to develop force into the ground, because at some point you're going to have to develop force into the ground. What I do is I overwork them, and I take that away so that when they need it, they have it. And it comes from rest. What is my point? My point is this. You need to rest. You need to be intentional about how you rest. You have to realize that it's part of the process. That is where you become stronger. It's during the resting process. Did you know that you get stronger after a workout while you're sleeping? It's not the workout. You're getting weaker.
You still don't work out.
Dang it. There's always one guy. After everything we've been through. Okay. What I want you, I'm going to close up right now. What I want you guys to know is this. As I told you that I get up in the morning, I do my preparation for the day and everything like that. And I was out and I have a shed. It's world famous. As we've said before, the Bible Museum is going to be asking about the shed at some point. So they'll have to give me some money or something. But anyway, on that shed, and actually this is the guy that put it in. The shed is sitting in my backyard. And there's a weight room in that shed. And so I go out there almost every morning, except for on the weekends and whatnot, unless I've got other things going on. And I go out there and I train. And sometimes I think, I'm not convinced, I talked to somebody about this over the weekend, and sometimes when I'm in there, I think the physical, I've put a lot of confidence in my physical abilities throughout the years. And I think when I'm in there, something happens, and I believe what's happening is my physicality is going away. I'm getting so tired. And I think that's the time when Jesus says, okay, time to get him. So I might be the only human being on the planet who in between sets is sometimes crying. And then I get mad. And I go back in and I hit it again. One morning when I was doing this, I was going through this process, and I started thinking about the guys I work with, who I've been serving for, and half of them don't even know I exist. I've been serving for, 13 years or something like that. And they have a saying. And I was thinking about the saying, and the saying is, De oppresso libere. De oppresso libere, if you look it up, De oppresso libere means free others from oppression. It also, which they don't like this part, it also means free yourself from oppression. But this idea of De oppresso libere, I was thinking about is free others from oppression. Take oppression away from each other. And I thought to myself, man, I've been around some military throughout my life. I worked with SEAL teams for a little bit of time. I've worked with these guys. And I can't think of a saying that I think actually captures the Christian way of life than that one right there. You're here to free the oppressed, guys. You're here to free the oppressed. And sometimes we need oppression, we need freedom from oppression as well. But that doesn't mean you don't have work to do. Byron, when you're in combat, did you have it all figured out? Absolutely not. But what did he do? He stepped in and he did it. I know the same thing about that guy. I know the same about all of you. The thing is, we don't have it all figured out. But God is still saying, don't worry, it's okay. I got you. Get on the boat. What would happen if everybody in this room started thinking, I'm going to go out today and I'm going to free the oppressed. I'm going to work on myself with God. I'm going to train myself through my own oppression that I've had forever. But what I'm going to do is, instead of believing in those lies, because it's all bullcrap, and the reason why it's bullcrap is because Satan realizes that you are carrying authority, and he's scared of you, and he does not want you to be successful. He's a defeated foe, but yet he's trying to do everything he can. And when I look at the church, I see a bunch of dudes, and all I see is those who want to retreat. And that's why this is not a retreat. We're here to infill. Men infill. We don't run from the fight. If I take this guy right here and I shove him up against that wall, there's no doubt in my mind, and he's hurting right now. He's got a lot of surgery he's trying to recover from. If I shove him up against that wall, here's what I will tell you. I know he'll fight me back. He's not going to let me do it. So what are you spiritually letting it happen? To your families, to your workplaces, all those different places. If all of us come together and we do our part, what ends up happening is we will begin to see freedom from spiritual, mental, and physical pain. We will begin to see freedom from spiritual, mental, and physical feelings of abandonment. Freedom from spiritual, mental, and physical disease. Freedom from spiritual, mental, that's in there twice. So I'm going to say it twice. Physical disease. We have to get out and do something. You have been given the tools. You have a mind, you have a spirit, and you have a body, you have a soul, tying all together. They're interdependent. They cannot be separated, and you cannot ignore them. You have to go out, change the culture to make it look more like heaven. We have, last night during Keith's talk, it's just something hit me. I was looking around and I saw that handprint. That handprint was given to me by God at about 4:15 in the morning years ago. What it means is that if you look at cave dwellings, most people will say that that handprint was actually put on the wall, and it depends on the expert, but most experts will say what they were basically saying was, don't forget I existed. So I thought, man, that's really good. I'm going to take that handprint, we're going to make that be a symbol, and what we're going to do is put a cross in the middle. Don't forget he existed. But I'm going to do my part. Are you slapping your hand on the wall? Secondly, the name of this group is called the Junto Tribe. The thing that we have going on is called the Junto Tribe. I love Benjamin Franklin. Everybody knows it. I hope that Ben figured it out so I can see him someday and talk to him. What I want to say is that Ben had a club that he put together, and he put it together when he was like 19 years old, and they ended up meeting for something like 40 or 50 years afterwards. What they would do is they would get together at a bar, they would drink beer, and they would sing songs, and then what they would do is they would get together, and the idea was that everybody from the community, he chose, I think it was 12 guys, 12 men that were learned, intelligent, motivated. He would bring them in, and what they would do is they would come together and they would have a talk. And and they had work to do. You can't just show up and sit on the sideline and hang out with Byron over here. And Jim's here, so he'll do all the talking. It's okay. The idea was you were supposed to come in and you were supposed to bring issues, things that you saw in the community, and your job was to get involved and do something about it. What does Farron know that I can use to make me better so that I can go out there and change the world? Junto was a group of men that came together, all from different backgrounds. They were supposed to come together and instead of fight over theology, they're supposed to come together, and I was supposed to ask, hey, what do you think? That's what Junto is about. It's about Junto. It's about stepping out and doing something. Then the word tribe came to me. Tribe means that we have one leader. One. That's it. And the ministry down the street, all the ministries that come here from all over the creation, wherever that is, they actually belong to the same tribe I do. That means that we have one leader and one leader only, and we're coming together to find out what is it that he wants for the world. We come together. I don't argue with Byron over whatever it is. And what I actually do is I want to understand your side of things. I want to hear from you. There was no argument allowed in Junto. It was only, I want to hear what you have so you can make me better. I'm going to tell you what I have so I can make you better because we have a leader and he's asking us to go forward. That is what this is all about. So my question again, where are you preparing to infill? Where are you going to infiltrate your area of operations? What are you doing to step into that area of operations? And what are you doing to interrupt what you see? What are you doing to get involved in that process? And that is what we are talking about. We're going to infill, we're going to interrupt, and then what we're going to do is we're going to influence, because we have Jesus in our hearts. That is what this weekend's for. I'm going to pray for us right now, guys. Jesus, I thank you, God, that you are who you are. Father, I thank you for my life. I thank you for the lives of all these men. I thank you for our families. I thank you for our missions, whether we are engineers, construction workers, whether we are fighting one email at a time, terrorism one email at a time, whether we are actually going downrange, whatever it is, Lord. Those are some of our missions. I pray, God, for the other missions we have been given in life. I pray for our wives and our kids. I pray for our friends. I pray for our family. Lord, I pray for the community in which we walk. Pray for our workplaces. I pray for our school. I pray, Lord Jesus, that I will free the oppressed for the rest of my life. I pray that these men will free the oppressed and will do this for the rest of their lives. Because this is the way. This is the truth. And this is where we find life. And this is where others will find life. God, thank you for this weekend. Thank you for these men. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Then we got
All right, that wraps up our Infil 2.1 series. If you miss being there in person, don't sweat it, because Infil 3.0 is coming in September. Keep a lookout for registration deals online, and check us out at www.gentotribe.com to receive real-time updates about upcoming events, new content, or to get in touch with somebody in the tribe. Tune in next week. Mike and I are going to interview Sarah Marion and Julie Sanders. That's right. We're talking to our wives about what it is that women really want from their Gento tribe man. Until then, have a great week. Stay in the fight to usher the kingdom of heaven to earth. Love you guys. Peace out.